fail. And that's when I wanted to start talking. So let's get this going. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a new presentation today of the RSR community. Welcome. So thank you for being here. So we're going to start talking about creating habits. Hi, everyone. Hi, Robin. Hi, Alexa. Some people are going to keep jumping in. So let's get this going. Talking about creating habits. One of the biggest things that I see a lot of people struggling with is trying to create healthy habits, more positive habits. Yes. And as a lot of people out there don't understand how the mind works, they struggle with that. So what do most people do is they kick themselves to be able to start creating habits. Let me know in the chat if that is true, that has happened to you before. Type 1 in the chat if you have been finding yourself kicking yourself in the butt to be able to accomplish different things, to create new habits. Maybe wake up earlier, maybe stop eating this, stop eating that, maybe sit down and do some work for whatever you need to do. Finally, do your taxes or whatever it is that you want to do, you find yourself struggling. So if you have tried kicking yourself in the butt, type a 1 in the chat. Let us know if that has happened to you. And I'm going to tell you that it has happened to me. Hey, thank you, Robin. Thank you, Alexa. So many times we find ourselves kicking ourselves in the butt to be able to do things. And yes, people can create habits like that. Of course you can. Of course you can create habits and start doing the things that you need to do out of kicking yourself in the butt. But I'm going to ask you this. Do you feel that kicking yourself in the butt is the most loving way to go through life? Yes or no, if it's the most loving way to keep kicking yourself in the butt to do the things that you need to do? Yes or no? Yes, kicking yourself in the butt, or no, kicking yourself in the butt? Let me know what you think. Yes? So, no, there you go. Thank you, guys. So the thing is, we got to understand that by kicking ourselves in the butt, it requires energy. Don't get me wrong, of course, to do it. So we are putting energy towards kicking ourselves in the butt to do the things that we need to do. So first of all, we are already using energy to kick ourselves in the butt. Second of all, it's not loving. If I have to kick my kids in the butt all the time to do things, that is not a loving thing. So what I want to bring today here, guys, is that hey actors, hey L'Oreal, how are you? So to be able to do the things that we need to do, I want to start teaching you how to stop kicking yourself in the butt to be able to start achieving the things that you want. So here we go. There we go, unmute themselves. So sorry, just in case we don't have any weird sounds in the background as we're going through this. So again, I spoke about this several times, but I want to tie it up today with creating habits. If I position myself as an authoritarian image, as an authoritarian figure to myself, I'm going to be able to do things. Maybe start, fasting, meditation, eating healthier, or whatever it is. I might be able to start doing it. But again, I'm doing it from an authoritative figure. There you go. And as spoken before, that is the typical energy from maybe when we were kids. Our parents, society have taught us that, and many times we gotta do things because we have to. And instead of understanding what is it that is holding us back from doing what we need to do, again, we fall into kicking ourselves. And as I mentioned, first of all, it's not a loving thing to kick yourself in the butt. It takes energy. And most of the times, I want you guys to comment here. Haven't you found yourself, type it too in the chat, if you have found yourself going into a habit, getting out of it, going into actions, getting out of it, going into action, getting out of it. So you start a diet, you break it. You start a diet, you break it. You start going to a gym, you stop. You start going to a gym, you stop. So you cannot find yourself holding on to those habits. So write it too in the chat if you have found yourself trying to create new habits, right? Going into doing whatever you needed to do and then stop doing it. And that is the bounce back. We try something, we force ourselves to do it, and then we fall back in not doing it. Why? Because we're not doing it. I know it's going to sound corny, guys, but we're not doing it out of self-love. We're doing it out of self-infliction. And listen to those different words. Inflicting myself, I don't know, pushing myself, talking to me hard, saying that I need to do this or that. That is a typical authoritarian figure. Instead, what I want to share with you along this journey, guys, is self-love, true self-love. And we have spoken about many gurus out there that are teaching, how to do stuff out of pushing yourself. Do it anyways. Go do it. If you got to do it, just do it. Forget whatever your head is saying. Forget your emotions. Ignore them and just go do what you need to do. And yes, don't get me wrong. It's good that you do what you need to do, like doing dieting, meditation, self-love, and things like that. But if I'm doing it through an authoritarian way, is that self-love? Yes or no? In the chat, yes self-love, no self-love, if I'm doing it from authoritarian way. Let me see those things coming in, guys. Yes, no, it's not self-love. And this is what I want you to understand. If there is a lack of self-love, the problem is that eventually my mind is going to go into shutdown mode and it's not going to keep doing what I want it to do. So again, if I kick myself in the butt to start dieting, I'm going to break the diet in a week, 2 days, a month, and then I'm going to go back to my old habits. Why? Because I'm not doing it from a loving place. I am kicking myself to accomplish the things that I supposedly need to, right? But I'm doing it from the wrong intention. So again, I want to bring the concept that I keep bringing on into the different sections that I come into these lectures that I'm offering is the intention. If I come from an intention of authoritarianism, I need to do a diet because, I need to lose weight. Pretend, the easy answer, I need to lose weight. It sounds a very valid explanation. Don't get me wrong. It is a valid explanation. But if I don't really go deeper into finding the intention behind it, why am I having a protective mechanism that doesn't allow me to go into dieting, go into a gym or whatever it is? I'm going against myself and I'm going to start a war inside of me. So if it has happened to you before that you have felt a war inside of you, I want you to put a 3 in the chat. Who hasn't gone to war inside of you guys to do the things that you need to do, to stop doing the things that you don't want to do, to start dieting, start going to the gym or whatever, and you find yourself in this inner war. This inner war shows us that there is something that is not working for you. So you're needing to fight yourself to achieve these things. So I have these 3s coming in. Thank you very much, guys. So I need to understand what is actually going on. Yesterday I was having a conversation about a guy that wanted to stop smoking. And I have had this many times with a lot of people. Unfortunately, again, we fill our head with negative images of what we can develop when we keep smoking. Cancer, if that it's going to affect our voice, it can make us affect our vocal cords, it can produce cancer in the lungs, it can reduce our our running because we're of course with nicotine and our body is not working efficiently. So we fill our head with the negatives to try to accomplish something. That again is doing something out of fear. And look again, guys, if I fill my head with negatives, and as we spoke before about this, the Dickinson method, forcing myself to see the negatives so that I can put so much fear inside of me that fear is going to override the smoking and I stop smoking, that is not loving. That is authoritarianism, and it's not the best way. It has a big toll to the mind and to the body. She Olympic don't lose weight. Sorry, that she's gonna, they can die. There you go. That could be a thing. They can die out of a stroke or out of a heart disease if they don't take care of their body, and that is not the best way to go. Because again, they're doing it out of fear. So as the fear starts fading away because they forgot, and that's not something that they're thinking all the time that they can die if they don't go on dieting, they're going to stop dieting because they're doing it from the wrong reasons. So to be able to create habits, first of all, we need to understand if we already have a habit in place of eating more than we should, eating things that we shouldn't, we need to identify why we're doing that. We got to do the opposite of what most people teach you guys. So if we're trying to make changes and we're following these big gurus and we're not getting results, it's crazy that we keep trying the same things to get different results. Yes, it is craziness. And it happened to me for many, many years. And this is why I'm doing this, guys. I want to show you that there's a different way. And it's very different to what most people say, but it is much more effective. It might be a little bit slower, but it doesn't have a big toll for the mind and the body. And this is what I want to bring to you guys. So I got to understand what is going on in my mind that I'm smoking, eating, not going to the gym, or whatever it is. What associations has my mind made around food, around, in this guy's cigarette, right? So I told him he had to start digging deep into his mind to identify why he started smoking in the first place. Yes, why did he start smoking in the first place? Was it because his friends were pushing him to smoke, so he's going to feel part? He's going to be accepted. He himself, maybe, and we didn't go there, just gave him, a brief exercise to do, right? To explore the mind. Maybe his parents smoked. So he felt that to be part of the tribe, to be part of the family, he needed to smoke too. And this is unique for each person. So we need to explore to identify the stories, the scripts we have created in our mind in the first place that then created the emotions. The emotions created an action. As we started repeating that action, we created a habit. So look again. Belief creates emotion. Emotion creates actions, behaviors. And if we repeat that several times, they start becoming habits. So look, do you think, now that I've just explained all this process, that you can create a habit just by the sake of wanting to create a habit? Can you really create a habit out of the sake of saying, hey, I'm going to start dieting? But you don't understand why in the first place you're eating sugar, why you're eating so much wheat, why you're doing all the things that you're doing. As Shan wrote over here, no, you're not going to be able to just create a new habit replacing the old habit if you don't understand all this process. And that's why so many people start creating new actions, try to create a behavior and a new habit, and they keep falling into old habits. So they start creating or supposedly wanting to create a new habit, and they go back to the old habits. And it's creating a new habit, falling back into old habits, trying to create a new habit, falling back into old habits. Why? Because we have a script, we have a belief that create emotions. Emotions create actions. Actions, several times repeated, we're going to start creating habits without thinking bad thoughts. So it could also be emotions and then thoughts as well, right? Normally, thoughts are going to be the first thing that are going to create the emotions. You might not be aware of it, but normally is thoughts create emotions. As adults, is thoughts create emotions. Emotions create actions, behaviors. And as we repeat that, it creates habits. So to be able to start creating habits, we need to understand this process. So again, I'm going to sleep late every night. I don't know, I watch social media, I watch Netflix, I do this, I do that, and I want to stop that. So I need to understand what is the association in the mind. Maybe for the mind, and look at this, guys, what I'm going to say. You start trying to go to sleep earlier, right? But then you find yourself falling back into sleeping, going to sleep late. So I'm going to give an example. This is unique for every person, but I want to show you an example for you to understand. So imagine that this person created a protective mechanism of watching Netflix, HBO, whatever. I'm not doing advertising, guys, here, but just showing this, any platform that shows movies or even social media. And this person is using that to disconnect with what's going on in their mind. Seriously, they're disconnecting from the negative. So imagine that they're feeling lonely, they're feeling sad, they're feeling anxious, they're feeling stressed, and they're using that, whatever it is, social media or watching movies at night, to disconnect, to relax. And I'm not saying it's wrong to relax, don't get me wrong. But if I'm relaxing out of trying to disconnect with my mind that doesn't stop thinking, doesn't stop worrying, doesn't stop whatever, I'm going against my protective mechanism. So I'm going to try to go sleep earlier. And as I go to sleep, I'm going to be lying there and my mind is going to be like, oh, I got to do this. Oh, I got to do that. Oh, what if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? So suddenly I wake up and I'm like, shoot, I cannot go to sleep. I'd rather be watching a movie, right? Who hasn't gone through that before, guys? Yes or no, if you have gone through that. So, Romana, you're asking if, I like this question, but aren't emotions stored stories? Store stories create the emotions, right? Or brings emotions to the surface. But again, it has to do with the stories, the scripts in the mind. So look, we're having all these yes coming in. So it's important to understand. Again, I keep falling back because if I cannot go to sleep, oh, let's watch a movie till I'm so relaxed that I can go to sleep. So I'm so tired that my mind is not going at 10,000 times a minute, so I can now go to sleep. And that is a problem, guys. I'm not fixing the problem. I'm only postponing it. And this is what I want you to understand. Where do thoughts come from? Just previous programming? Yes, exactly. There's somebody there asking in social media, where do thoughts come? Normally, thoughts come from events from our past, as Romana was saying. We have events from our past that created a story, that created belief. So beliefs are going to trigger emotions. Emotions are going to trigger actions, and actions that are repeated become habits. So if I want to go to sleep early, I need to understand that if I lay in bed and I cannot go to sleep, I need to deal with it. To create a habit, again, a new habit, but going to sleep in this case earlier, I need to understand what's going on in my mind. Why can't I relax my mind earlier? Why is it that I need to spend more time watching TV or something to quote unquote relax, to turn off the mind for a little bit? It's not about turning off the mind. It's about dealing what's happening in the mind, not turning it off. So I need to understand, you to understand these things, guys, because if I want to try to push myself to create habits, I won't be able to do that. And that's what I want you to understand. I cannot just create habits out of the blue. Most people cannot. Some people do. Yes, some people, don't get me wrong, they can create habits kind of out of the blue. Why? Because they kick themselves in the butt so hard that they override whatever is going on in their mind, and they're able to cover the pain, disconnect, dissociate from themselves, and create something new. But the problem is, again, they're creating a persona, they're creating an identity. They're not really dealing with what's going on inside of them. And this is what I want to bring. So the first thing is identify the connections or the protective mechanisms. As I said, maybe this guy started smoking and wants to stop smoking because their parents smoked and he felt that he was going to be part of the tribe if he smoked. So he needs to identify his script. A person that might be going to sleep late might be doing it because he or she is trying to slow down the mind, get so tired that the mind cannot show all these things going on, and you go to sleep easier. But if then you wake up maybe more exhausted, first of all, because you're not turning off your mind. You're thinking that you're turning off your mind. The mind has no turn off. You can deal with it, but not turn it off. There's not a switch you can just turn it off. It is a living being that, it's all the time working. It's like shutting off your heart. You cannot shut off your heart. You can reduce your heart rate. You can reduce the workload in the mind, but you cannot shut it off. Watching a movie feels like shutting it off because the conscious mind is thinking about the movie, but it actually in the subconscious mind, it is still running. And I always compare the mind with a computer. Right now, guys, I'm streaming at different places. We're meeting here. We got Zoom. I have another platform that is streaming into a group, right? But things are happening in the background. Although I'm not seeing what's happening in the background, that I have an Excel sheet open, I might have a website that is updating in the background, I might not see it. That doesn't mean that it's not happening. And this is what I want you to understand. That you don't see it, it doesn't mean that it's not happening. So if we cannot really go deep into the mind to find the stories, the associations, the protective mechanisms of why we're doing what we're doing and why we're not doing what we are supposed to do, it is going to be very difficult to create a new habit. Does this make sense till now? Write down habits if it makes sense, guys. Habits if it makes sense. Thank you. Habits coming in. There we go. Again, nice interaction. Yes. So if I don't understand how habits were created, I won't be able to change them in the most loving way. I'm going to use, again, authoritarianism, permissivism. I'm going to have to use other things to be able to accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish. And as we said before, unfortunately, I'm going to fall back into my old habits faster, slower, but I'm going to go back to my old habits because I'm not doing it the right way. Okay? And this is what I want to start talking more and more as we work together. The intention. Why am I going to do this, or why am I not going to do this? If I have not found a clear intention, an aligned intention, a loving intention, it's going to be very difficult. If I want to stop eating because it can kill me, right? I'm doing it out of fear. I'm not doing it out of love. The idea is to develop enough self-love so that we can start creating those habits out of love. It's a work in progress, guys. I don't mean that you got to love yourself 100% because it's a work in progress. It's a journey, not a destination. But if I can start doing this, identify my stories, identify my protective mechanisms, then from there, and the people that work with me one-on-one, they see that it's a little bit easier and more consistent staying in doing the things that you need to do, with maybe ups and downs. And this is the next step that I want to bring. A lot of people think that to create habits is, okay, just Tommy, I have a good intention. I found my protective mechanism. Now I have to be able to do this every day. Wrong. Wrong, guys. If you have been doing a habit for many, many years, right, an action that you repeated over and over again, to be able to start creating a new habit is going to take time, work, yes, and experimentation. Let's go back to that. Time, practice, and experimentation. Yes? Yes, loving yourself is a daily action and not just words. Because I hear all these people telling themselves in the mirror, oh, I love myself, I love myself. And then when they do something wrong, they beat themselves up. Oh, I'm so stupid. How could I do this? How can I, put up with this? Who hasn't gone through that? You say suddenly a nice thing in the morning, and in the afternoon you're beating yourself up. In a subtle way maybe, right? But who hasn't done that before? Put a 4, or up to 4 now in the chat. A 4 in the chat if you have loved yourself in the morning and beaten yourself in the afternoon. Who hasn't been there? It happens to everyone, guys. We need to recognize that. We are spiritual beings living a human experience, but the ego is still there playing games. So when I tell myself in the morning that I love myself, and then I say, oh, how stupid, how did I do this? Why did I do this? And with again, judgment or criticism, and it could be very subtle. Unfortunately, I'm beating myself up. If I'm beating myself up, I'm not loving myself. So again, let's go back to habits. I start identifying, yes, the average amount of time is 66 days to create a new habit. Some can take much longer. There we go. Thank you, Arcturus. Okay. So the important thing is this, guys. Okay, I don't know about numbers. This I feel that is very, for different people, is going to be a little bit, it's going to vary, but I know they're studying things out, so I'm not going to deny that at all. But I don't like talking about times because I feel that every person is unique. So this could, vary from person to person, but it takes time. But again, first, identifying these things. So the story, we're going to need to start working on changing the story. That's going to take time. That is going to, of course, changing the story and releasing the negative emotions stored there. Then that creating a new story, creating new emotions. New emotions, right? More positive emotions are going to create new actions. But guys, the actions might be 1 day yes, 2 days no. 1 day yes, 4 days no. This is important because if I'm trying to go to the gym, example, right? Maybe every day, and I go 1 day yes, and then 2 days no, and then I go back again. Instead of beating myself up that I didn't go 2 days, I should look at, hey, I went 2 days. What was I able to accomplish instead of seeing the negative of what did I do? Because it's very normal to start beating yourself up. So you never went to the gym, right? Or in the past year or two, you never went to the gym. You went once, and instead of giving yourself a pat in the back, you're saying, okay, well, let's see what happens tomorrow. So when you put yourself into that mindset, you're already preparing yourself to beat yourself up tomorrow. So if tomorrow you don't make it to the gym because of different reason, excuses, whatever it is, instead of beating yourself up, saying, okay, wait, I went on Monday. So if I went on Monday, I didn't go on Tuesday, it means that I can go again maybe another day, maybe Wednesday, maybe Thursday. So I put myself into the maybe mode. Most people is I have to, I need to. That is many times the energy of authoritarianism. And that energy, it's going to start creating more problems, as I was saying before. It can fade away, and it's being hard on yourself. It's not about being hard on yourself. Say, hey, I went once, so I can do it again. So maybe I'll go tomorrow. Maybe I'll go on Wednesday. Maybe I'll go on Thursday. So as you start positioning yourself as, okay, maybe, and looking at yourself in a more loving way, you're going to see that maybe you don't go Tuesday, you don't go Wednesday, but you go Thursday. Whoa. 2 days a week from not going to the gym. Look at this, guys. From not going to the gym, I went to the gym twice this week already. Whoa. What a great move forward that I did. From not going, twice going. Because again, we feel that if I start putting a habit together, I get to do it every day. Who hasn't felt that? That if I start putting a habit together, I have to go every day. Who hasn't been there? 5 on the chat. If you haven't been there thinking that, oh, if I'm putting a habit together, I have to do it every day. That is doing habit, creating habits. And that is wrong, guys. This is another thing that most people fall into. Because again, I'm not listening to myself, right? I'm disconnected. So I got to push myself to do it. That is not true love. Although again, it's good for me to go to the gym, I'm not doing it from true love. I'm doing it from pushing myself, making myself do it. And this is what I want you to understand, guys. I need to understand that I have to do it from a better place to be able to hold on to that habit and turn it into an actual thing that happens every day, every week, or whatever. Like meditation, going to sleep earlier, eating less, waking up earlier. I have worked with a lot of people that suddenly they start waking up a little bit earlier, a couple of days a week, and then they miss a couple and they start beating themselves up. That is not unconditional love. That is conditional love. I love myself when I'm able to do and get the results that I want. And when I don't get the results that I want, I beat myself up. A 6 in the chat if you find yourself there every now and then. Please, guys, a 6 in the chat if you see yourself there. Everything is good when things are going your way, you're achieving it, you love yourself, everything is fine, and suddenly you make a mistake, you fall away from the diet, you do something wrong, and now you start beating yourself. A big 6. There you go. Thank you, Sean. That's what happens. So that is, look at this at the word, conditional love. My love is conditioned to when I get the result that I expect. And you know what, guys? Where do you think that comes from? Did I learn that out of the blue? Yes or no, if I learned that out of the blue. Did I come to earth with that programming in my mind that I only love myself when I get the results that I deserve, that I expect? Yes or no in the chat? Yes or no? Of course not. There we go. The no's are coming in. Thank you. No, guys. No, no, no. I've learned this. Why? Because when I was a kid, I was programmed like that. When I did what my parents expected, I was praised, I was kissed, I was hugged, I was given love. Whenever I didn't do what they expected, I received punishment, I received criticism, judgment, rejection, leaving me alone, whatever, sending me to the corner, to the bathroom to cry alone. All these things created this exact pattern that we're applying to ourselves. So if it's not working, what most people are teaching you is because you're following that pattern. People studied what happened in the past and the authoritarian figure, and figured out ways to use that to create faster habits. But are those really mind healthy habits? Yes or no? Are those healthy mind habits when I'm using authoritarianism to create the habits that I want? What do you really think, guys? Thank you. No, no is coming in. Thank you. That is the big problem. We're not supposed to use authoritarianism. And if you look at many gurus out there, and we've spoken about it many times, I'm going to repeat it again, we fall into those patterns. We fall into authoritarian. Do it anyway. The 5-second rule, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go do it. Or 5, 2, 3, 4, go do it. You know, the Dickinson method. Scare the shit out of yourself and go do it. Yes, it might work for some people that have dissociated themselves so much, they have disconnected with themselves so much that they can do it. Yes, it works. Don't get me wrong. But it creates more separation, more loneliness, more sadness, more pain inside. Because how did we feel as kids when we were not praised, loved, accepted, when we made a mistake? Did we feel good or did we feel bad? Good or bad? Write it down in the chat. Good or bad when as a kid you were not loved, accepted when you made a mistake, or we didn't behave as your parents expected, or you didn't get the grades that you were expected to get, or whatever. Good or bad? Bad, bad. So if you felt bad as a kid and you feel today bad, if I come, if you care about someone and this person comes to your house and says, oh, you're a mess, look what you're doing, you're always doing things wrong, is that going to help you get out of where you are, or is it going to dig a hole deeper? Yes? Deeper hole, or you're going to get out of there? Yes or no? Are you going to go darker? Yes? Or are you going to get out of there? No, when somebody treats you like that. Normally, we're going to feel like crap. Thank you, Shan. Bigger hole. So if we don't like people doing that to us, look at this, guys. This is the most important part. Yes? Is kicking them out an option? Thank you, Robin. But look at this. I like that you brought that up. Yes, you can kick them out. Yes. And this is one of the big things that gurus teach you. When somebody is not treating you like you deserve, walk away. Yes, walk away. Don't get me wrong. But if you don't check what you are doing to yourself, you're just moving away from the problem, but you're not dealing with the problem. And somebody else is going to need to walk into your life to bring you the same problem again, so you finally see it. So yes, it's an option, but I realize that each time I kick that option out of my house, another person is going to represent that again to me, because there's something I need to see. There's something that I need to take care of, and I'm not doing it. Does that make sense? Yes or no? This is very important. I love that you said that, Robin. Of course, you're going to kick them out. Don't get me wrong. We're not going to put up to that. But remember, if somebody is being hard on me and it bothers me, it is a representation. It is a mirror that is showing me where I am being like that to myself. And I know you know it. I know you. We're working together, so I know you know this. But I needed to address it for everyone else. I know what you meant. So exactly, what's going to happen is that we're going to get more people bringing that to our doorstep because we need to deal with it. So to create a habit, we need to identify the negative stories behind why we're not doing it, or why we're doing the thing that we're doing. I'm not going to the gym. I'm not doing my taxes. I'm not doing laundry. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. Or I'm eating too much. I'm sleeping too much, or whatever it is. Because normally, again, look at an example I'm going to give you. Maybe I'm sleeping too much because my mind is in overload. I am stressed out. I'm feeling anxiety. I'm feeling sad. And the best way to turn off, quote unquote, the mind for a little bit longer is to sleep more. So now if I start kicking myself in the butt to sleep less, guys. So I'm sleeping more because I already feel sadness, loneliness, stress, anxiety. An idea, right? And now I start kicking myself in the butt to wake up earlier. What is that going to bring? Is it going to bring less anxiety, less stress? Yes or no? So I'm going to deal with that in a second, Romana. Let's answer that question, what I said just now. Okay? If I feel lonely, if I feel sad and I'm sleeping more to try to turn off that pain, and now I kick myself in the butt to wake up earlier, am I dealing with the pain, the loneliness, the sadness, or whatever? No. And I'm going to create more stress and more anxiety. And this is what we need to understand. So I'm producing more of what I don't want. Look what I just said, guys. I am producing more of what I don't want. So am I really dealing with a problem? No, I'm not. So again, as I feel sad and I feel lonely and I start kicking myself in the butt to do the thing, so it's going to create more stress, more anxiety, I'm going to need to turn off my mind, quote unquote, disconnect, right? Force a disconnect inside of me so that I don't feel so much. So imagine this. Imagine that there is, in your house, a short circuit. And when you go to sleep, you listen to zzz, 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 all night. And it doesn't allow you to sleep. So what are you going to do? You're going to unplug that. That's what a lot of people do. They unplug themselves. Subconsciously is still happening. The pain is still there, but they're not even aware of the pain. And that's when they feel even worse about themselves. So now they look for new habits to cover the pain inside of them. It could be eating more, it could be smoking, it could be going to the gym as a habit to cover their pain inside, or whatever it is, guys. So we have to understand these things to be able to create habits. So we already spoke about how are habits created. Story, program, belief creates emotions. Emotions create actions. Actions that are repeated start creating habits. Okay, so that's the way we need to learn how to create habits. So we need to reverse engineer. I'm smoking. I'm eating too much. I'm not going to the gym. Okay, what's going on? Why don't I love myself enough? Roman, as you were saying, right? People need a small push. No, they don't. Maybe they don't need a small push. They need the right information for them to understand that that is the best thing for them, and in a loving way, them wanting to do it. Because self-love, and Peter was here. I don't know if he's around now. Oh, he dropped. But we were talking with Peter about this a couple of weeks ago when we were talking on this live, right? About self-love. Self-love, as you grow that, is going to allow you to go more to the gym, to eat less, to start smoking. But we need to develop that, right? So we got to, maybe Romana in your program, start working more on mindset, right? Helping them with mindset. And then as you start creating these new habits, but first, mindset. It could be the first couple of weeks of your program that you really go deep into mindset so that you prepare themselves to then start going to the gym, then start eating a little bit healthier because they already love themselves a little bit more. An idea. You got to do whatever you want. In my business, mindset and business growth accelerator that most of you guys are, people have gone through first mindset and then they go into the business side. Because if you don't know how the mind works on all these things, when you go into the business side, and this is what happens to most people out there, they're not doing the things they need to do. They're not reaching out to people, they're not posting, they're not doing lives, they're not doing free trainings or whatever, because they're scared. They're not getting people on calls, they're not making offers. So they are self-sabotaging because they don't understand how the mind works. So although they know what they need to do, they're not doing it. So first, in my programs, they first go through mindset and then they go into business. Yes? There you go, Romana. So again, we already saw the steps: belief, emotion, behavior, action. That turns into a habit. Second and very important step in doing this, guys, is I do one action that wasn't, the same one that I was doing before. I go to the gym once, give myself a pat in the back and see that as a very positive thing, and then put yourself into learning mode. Okay, I'll see if tomorrow I can do it again. I put myself into exploration, loving. Hey, I'm going to see if I can do this again. That will be great. But it's not, oh, I have to do it again tomorrow. And if I don't do it again tomorrow, instead of beating myself up, I say, okay, what happened? Why didn't I do it today? I was able to do it on Monday, so I can do it. Why wasn't I able to do it today? What was going on in my mind? Maybe I felt lonely, maybe I felt sad, maybe I felt something negative and I need to deal with that story, right? But as I reconnect with myself, that is going to develop the self-love, the confidence, the self-esteem that is going to allow us also to be able to then start doing the things that I want to do. So curious mindset instead of fixed mindset. There you go. Thank you, Sean. Exactly. Curious mindset. Hey, will I be able to do this again tomorrow? That would be great. Let's try. Instead of I have to, pushing yourself. That masculine energy lacks the feminine. And we spoke about this. Masculine energy versus feminine energy. And it's not versus, it's together. Masculine energy is going to the gym. The feminine energy is okay. I love myself. Do I feel negative? Do I feel bad? Do I feel whatever negative thing? I can deal with it with a loving energy, and I combine both loving and doing, and then I go and do it. But if I just bring the forcing energy of doing, the masculine energy of I have to do it, I kick myself in the butt, I'm lacking the love. And this is what we're looking, the balance, the middle way, right? No masculine, all masculine, no all feminine. The mixture of both energy is going to allow us. So I did it once, good job. I didn't do it for 5 days then, okay, let's see why. Let's explore why I'm not doing it. Is there something bothering me? Do I have, again, the negative intention again? Did I force myself to do it? And again, try to do it again. And if you repeat it again twice a week, right? Good. Whoa, I didn't do it, and now I did it once a week. That's awesome. If you can sit down and do 5-minute meditation once a week, that's awesome. Now turn it into maybe twice a week. Now try to turn it maybe 3 times a week. And maybe along a month or 2 months, as was Arturo saying, 66 days approx, right? The studies, maybe in 2 months, you're doing it 3 or 4 times a week. And you were planning to do it maybe every day or five times a week. And you're getting closer. But unfortunately, we set the goal like, I want to do 5 times a week meditation, eating well, going to the gym. And I miss a couple and I start beating myself up. And that's where I destroy my work all at once. Exactly. All at once doesn't work. It might work with authoritarianism. Again, with authoritarianism, you can fall into maybe doing it all at once. But that is forcing yourself. That is not self-love. That is authoritarianism. And again, our mind can work with authoritarianism, but most people don't like it, and eventually they're going to rebel and they're going to fall into not doing whatever they wanted to do. So you're going to stop going to the gym. You're going to start smoking. You're going to start eating again. You're going to fall back into your old habits. Does this make sense again, guys? Yes or no? A big capital yes or a big capital no if this is making sense. We need to understand how we created our habits, right? Find the stories, find protective mechanisms, because many times they're protective mechanisms I eat to prevent me feeling sad, because I don't know, somehow, and once I was working with a woman that her grandmother would give her candy. She had a disconnect with mom. She didn't feel loved by mom, but when she went to her grandmother's house, her grandmother was kind of the fuel, the love for her, right? And her grandmother would give her love through candy. So she associated that candy was love for her. So she would eat candy. And I couldn't force her to stop eating candy because that was her fuel. It wasn't the positive, the good fuel, but it was still fuel for her. So I needed to identify her protective mechanism to be able to start changing those habits into eating more healthy, or instead of eating when she was feeling pain, connecting with her pain so that she could deal with it and then maybe eat something more healthier instead of shoving candy in her mouth to repress the pain inside. You see that it's much more complex than just forcing myself to create new habits, as most people do. That is why most people cannot create new habits. Again, why? Because they force themselves. They kick themselves in the butt. They apply the 5-second rule, the Dickinson method, all these things that are creating a greater gap inside of you instead of reconnecting with yourself. So instead of going against and producing a war inside of you, understand your protective mechanisms. They're there to protect you. They might not be good now, but they were good back when you were a little kid maybe. So they served you sometime along your life. Now they're not serving. But if you look at that, hey, this served me back then, right? Thank you for serving me back then. Thank you to myself for creating this protective mechanism of eating candy to feel loved, because that was the only way to survive. I didn't know another way. Thank you. Thank you very much, Tommy, for doing that. Buddy, that was amazing that you figured out a way to receive love somehow. Great. But you know what, buddy? Now there is another way. Are you open to explore with me another way? Look how I'm positioning the mind to be open, to be receptive, to be more curious, to learning something new. And this is what I want to bring to you guys. We got to position the mind into that curious, enjoying, exploration mode, so that it's much easier to create those habits and hold them along and into a longer time, into creating those long-lasting habits. So thank you very much for watching on Facebook or the channel that you're in, guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate the comments there, the engagement. I'm going to stay now with the people on Zoom. So again, I went over a little bit, but I thought this is important to share with you guys, creating the habits, so it would help you. So again, thank you very much. If you like this, let me know. #live, #replay, a heart, a comment down there. If you like this, if there's any topic you would like us to cover, put them here in the chat and we'll try to. And I'm going to stay here with the people on Zoom that are part of the Elite program, so we can do some questions, some laser coaching, and continue going deeper into the mind. So thank you, everyone, and I'll see you around. Take care, guys, in social media. Bye. See people in Zoom. Stay, please. We're going to keep going.